Oh, now everybody's piling in. Here they all come. The wolfest of Arons, the deadest of Zeds,
Ah, yeah.
the
Fish.
the kneest of Pose. Hey, kneest of Pose.
That wasn't a good pun. That wasn't a good one.
No, no good. Fittests of
No, no.
Trips. Come on, I've invented something right there. It's a whole new thing. We can start a whole language off that, right?
Hello, boys.
I totally think that's a
Okay,
thing.
everyone. Mm.
The monkiest of Gooch. That one's not bad.
That
Oh
was
no.
working really well.
Oh, that
Okay,
one hit hard. That one hit really
Trucker.
good.
He got it. He loved it. A bit too much, but that's okay. That's allowed.
Oh, oh, straight away.
Oh, it's Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
Who was that?
Good to see you.
Hello, Jimmy.
Oh, straight in there this week, Pony. I don't get
Oh
a chance to
yes.
waffle at all. I'll tell you what.
No.
Let me do a 10-second intro, and then I'll jump straight into you, right? So I won't. Oh boy. Uh, yeah. Welcome to Space Makers. We do this once a week. You come here. You can ask questions. The two things I always say is check out the documentation. The documentation behind me is actually some new documentation that is a work in progress. But join the Discord. That's probably the more important thing, right? Get in there, get talking to people, get access to all of the resources, whether old or new. There's lots of documentation on our existing website, but what we've got here behind us is a whole new shiny thing that we've been working on now for the last little while. But anyway, I'll jump into the usual Q&A. Go ahead, Pony. What can I do you for?
Um, do we have any more progress on the piloting system? The ability to sit down, is that progressed? I know we've got a lot on your plates at present, so it's probably not moved on at all.
It's that's a great one. That's a good question. I think right now, I'm not sure exactly when it could come, but I'm on this buzz recently where I'm just plucking items off the list and just going bang, bang, bang. So it could come sooner than expected, but I actually think with the new character controller that we're building, that's going to be the best opportunity to try and integrate that and do it as smooth as possibly, right? To try and get it so that there's no stutter at all whenever you're attached to stuff and try to handle the networking side of that too, so that it's perfectly synced for multiple people, right?
Yeah.
You're right to call me out on that one. That's one that's not the top of the priority list right now, but it's
I
definitely
didn't
one
think
that
it would be.
yeah, it's definitely one I want though because I think it's going to be so amazing really to do that and to continue to combine things like physics and stuff to be able to just create cool experiences without all that mad complexity. But yeah, no, cheers for that one, Pony.
Not a problem.
Awesome. For anybody who's new here, I'll let you know that generally how it works is you make your way up onto this little podium and it's bouncy, so it's fun. You can have something to do while you're there, and it's slippery. And if you slip off, that's it. You got to go to the end of the queue. That's how it works. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll answer all your questions, whatever you want to ask me about building and banter, anything about the platform, stuff we're working on into the future. I'm generally an open book when it comes to pretty much anything, right? But you can ask me questions about stuff unrelated to banter too. That's always an option. Oh, Pony straight in there.
Okay, next
Go ahead, Pony.
question.
Oh boy,
What's
hit me.
what's the newest version of the SDK version 2 we're working on? I haven't updated mine in a while. I don't know if there's a new update with anything extra in.
I think we're
That
on
makes
version
sense.
2.1 maybe or 2.0.1. I can't remember the exact version number as I stand right here, but it's still early days. I think what we're going to see
Yeah.
is another minor version fairly soon, which is going to be a lot of very small changes but quality of life improvements. Just trying to make it so that first time install is much easier, that it does things automatically when it should, it offers to configure and set things up for you when it should, and just a few other small little changes to how things generally work. life cycle or the order of events, just to make sure that everything should be happening. And what we've got, I think, is a fantastic foundation, but there's still a little bit of polish here and there to try and make it as intuitive as possible, right? So that when you get into it, it's going to make the most sense. But that's what we're focused on right now, is layering out a couple of extra nodes into visual scripting to make sure that you've kind of got everything there that you could need, as well as just fixing a bunch of quality of life improvements. Like, for instance, we're going to be putting it up onto Open UPM, right, which is an open package manager for Unity that it'll allow you to install it without necessarily even having to have Git installed, right? So for a lot of people, that was a gotcha that we didn't expect. But we'll wrap that up soon, have it in there, be able to do automatic updates and everything through there, just the same as we do now. So it's just a bunch of small little things like that we want to try and make sure people can get the most out of it. So that's the version that I've been playing with most recently. And there's a version with the mirror in it as well that's sitting in a PR on the GitHub, ready to go into, which you can see, of course, right? Our SDK is open source if anybody's interested
Yeah.
to know.
Brilliant.
Cheers, Pony.
Let Wolf get in.
Thank you. Wolf, hit me. What have you got?
Yes, yeah, I tested the service from NVIDIA GeForce Now,
Okay,
if you know about this.
I do. Streaming
And the
games.
Banter is not on there.
Oh my
Is
god.
there something you can do about that?
We'll need to get that sorted immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wasn't sure exactly how those sort of things worked. I thought they just took games themselves and put them on there. I thought they just take them on Steam if they're there. I didn't realize we had to opt in. I thought it was more of an opt out kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, if it's easy to get it up there, we can do that. That what just makes it so you can play it from anywhere, right? Any device.
Yes. So
game
I can
streaming.
sit at when I'm not at home, at somewhere else, and open a web browser and play a game. For example, opening Banter and looking
That's
at an
cool.
event or something.
Can you take a note of that one, Faye, so that I don't forget? And we can check on that and
Yes.
see what's involved. I'm sure it's just another deployment to add to the list. But yeah, that's a good idea. Cheers. Also,
Thank
a
you,
mobile
Shane.
client, something we're working on hopefully soon, right? The menu is getting so close to finished now that we can taste it. So once that's done, we can then look at doing a pass for on-screen controls for mobile devices, right? But yeah, go ahead, Pony.
Back again. The video player, the one that we'll be able to build in Unity, is that
Yes.
one available yet? Have I missed that, or is it
Oh,
still?
that might be the magic question you've just asked there, Pony. This was my topic to waffle about, and you've just struck gold.
Well, please waffle. I'll stand out the way. Waffle away.
Waffle away.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to Nistex. I don't know if he's still here. Maybe he's gone to bed or he's hanging out with Danny. But he showed something to Bob, and Bob showed it to me. It was like this web sync play system or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like our playlist player, right, for YouTube. It's kind of like the same as the video player that we have, except for it supports a massive number of sources from videos, right? It supports not just YouTube, but like all the other video sites, Vimeo, Dailymotion, all that stuff, as well as like Facebook and Twitter and Twitch. And you can even get a direct link from Discord, I've heard, and slap that onto the playlist, and everybody can sit and watch it together. It actually sounds pretty cool. And when I heard about it and checked it out, it sort of changed the trajectory that I was going with my own sort of stuff, to make sure that I wasn't, trying to build an enormous thing that almost already exists. So for anybody that's interested, they host a version themselves that it seems you can access. It seems like it's always got pretty good availability and seems to work pretty well. But it's also fully open source. So a system like that you can take and basically run on your own servers if you really wanted to. And that's a really great thing to have. But to your question, Pony, about video players in general, so I'm working on, I guess, what you would call an abstraction layer right now. it's kind of a universal video player. And the idea is that it's kind of maybe 2 or 3 video players built into one. And I've been just testing it today, and testing is going really well. The idea is I want to have a video player that can play the largest number of formats, has the best performance that it can have, and also just supports YouTube videos, let's say, out of the box, right? Can just play YouTube videos. So what I've kind of built is sort of 3 different video players, all built in like a little video player engine, if you will, right? Where at the top level, it's just one video player as far as you're concerned, and you can control all of the different parts of it, like seeking or volume or muting or playing and pausing, all that kind of stuff. You can kind of control that, right? But under the hood, uh, or even, you know, there's extra controls that you can do it yourself manually, right? But you can just seamlessly swap between a native Unity video player to a browser-based HTML5 video player to just the straight up embedded YouTube player. And you can swap between all 3. And what that lets you do is basically be able to play almost any video type, even if it's maybe region locked. You can still play it. You just swap off the YouTube one and go to the native one instead. And what's great is that it's so seamless. You just swap from one to the other, and it just continues playing the video at the exact same point that it was at just before, right? So you can just that's the idea. I want to try and wrap up all of those 3 video players into basically one video player. It's kind of crazy, right? That's honestly, I feel like that's really what's required in order to have such a comprehensive system that's, you know, resistant to change within whatever YouTube is mainly doing, right? Because I don't know if did anybody start notice that they're doing ads now on the YouTube embeds in Discord? Has anybody noticed that all of a sudden this has just started happening? You're getting ads in there, right? We use the embeds. That's how our current video player works. And if ads started to all of a sudden play there, it would be a nightmare for syncing, basically. Either we'd have to do a post ad sync and different people, different numbers of ads, different lengths, durations. It would honestly be a complete and utter nightmare. But yeah, the idea here is to try to have multiple options that you can kind of cultivate, let's say. And the native video player hits the performance requirements because there's no browser involved, and you can just play it back and you can just have it there as a native video player. What's great about that as well is you can get much easier access to the texture. I was telling somebody about this today. So instead of having to do like an orthographic camera and a render texture for anybody who's done that, with the native video player, you're actually supplying the texture to it. So you've got access to the raw texture, and you can use that on other objects or change the mesh of the video player, have it be a different shape. All that kind of stuff is super easy and super performant with the native video player, right? So that's great. Then we've got the HTML5 video player. That's just a very basic web-based, browser-based video player. What's great about it is it supports direct links, so you can play a video file from a direct link. It doesn't have to be on YouTube, for instance. And it also supports a wide variety of video formats, right? So that's a really nice benefit of having that. And then, of course, the YouTube player itself, right? Obviously, it provides probably, you know, if anything were to happen in future and YouTube were to change something about their API, it would more likely affect the other 2 video players, and the YouTube player might stay intact. Although at some point it could have ads on it, right? So we've got to be prepared for that. I think what we need to do is always have something right beside the video player that's obscene enough that nobody would want to advertise beside it. And then we'll just take pictures of that and send them to YouTube over and over so they know, oh, don't be doing ads. Because I think that's what it is, right? I think they've just flipped a switch on Discord and said, okay, now everybody on Discord will see ads. And you can't actually sign in to YouTube on Discord. So whether you're paying for premium or not at that point does not matter. For anybody who, you know, the little embed where it's like YouTube, oh, brilliant, I can just hit play and watch this now. Just click the link, open it in your browser. Don't click the embed anymore because it's turning into yeah, it's turning into a crazy nightmare. But anyway, I hope the long and short of what I'm trying to say there is if we cast a wide enough net, we can have all of these possibilities. And what I've actually done with the video player is I've made it automatically swap between these modes. If it has an error on one, it will try another one straight away for you. So the idea is that it's all abstracted away. It's all just all of that problem, all of that mess, all that stuff you have to worry about, all that craziness. It's just all built into this one universal video player. So if there are any problems, yeah, hopefully you can just flip that over to a different type of video player, and straight away everything should pick up on top of that. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited about building this out. We've obviously got a lot of video assets in the wild between screen sharing, multiple different versions, this thing that Nistex has found, or whoever found that, I'm not sure who found that, as well as our own stuff we've built, right? The YouTube player, the karaoke player, lots of different things. Uh, what I want to do with this new stuff is try to build it in a more modular way, right? So there's maybe a base offline video player kind of thing initially, and then building in a synchronized playlist is kind of a plug-in on top of that. Or building in a karaoke is a plug-in on top of that. Or even building a user interface for it, right? Building hand-mounted controls or on-screen controls, or being able to update the UI in future will be easier because it will all be separate modular pieces that we can kind of swap in and out at will. And it'll be handy because I'm going to open source all of it. So you'll be able to take those pieces and do with it
Nice.
whatever you want yourself as well, right? So, yeah, some of the last things I'm trying to work on is just a nice quick demonstration example to show you here's how it works. Here's all the buttons. You click them, they do all the various things. Here's, the time and how it gets updated. And here's how you swap between this, that, and the other. Get all that sorted. I want to try and get spatial audio abstracted as well. That's a bit of a tricky one. The native video player is quite easy because I can just use an audio source and set a spatial blend. But the browsers are a completely separate application, Vuplex out on its own. But thankfully, I've done this before, right? The existing YouTube playlist player has spatial audio, so I'll just take from that and yeah, apply that same logic to the other video players, right? So yeah, hopefully this should form a really nice basis for us to kind of build out a video framework for the future, but also, allow for anybody else to take this stuff and to tinker with it and to play with it. And what we want to try and do is create a nice set of base examples. I think today in the Space Makers, we were talking about the samples that will be included, right, with the Unity package. There's this whole sample section. Well, we hope to have something in there where it's like, here's a visual scripting subgraph that wraps up the whole video player system for you as well. You can just pull that into visual scripting and then start to interact with the video player from visual scripting, right? And then in future, people could build their own cool UIs around that. They could have their own search interface where you can search and find things. It really gives people all the tools they need to try and build that, right? And we'll do it too. Why not? Let's I think the one thing I've kind of learned from the all the video stuff we've built to date is that people generally want to take it and do other things with it and improve on it and make it better, right? So if we build this new setup in all these modular pieces, then it's going to make that it's going to make that possible and make it easier for people to do that, right? And as long as we have a nice example of here's how you can play with it in JavaScript, here's how you can do it in Unity visual scripting, here's all the different ways you can access it, and it could become a really nice clean foundation to what we kind of want to build from there, right? Because video is a really important it's an important thing. I think it's always been a staple. God knows how many hours have been spent on that little video player that I threw together in Glitch, and they happily hosted for us for so long. So yeah, anyway, that was a waffle. That was a really big one. Thanks for that, Pony. You struck gold on that.
That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for anybody who's joining us late, that's a thing that I do, what I've just done there, right? I tend to waffle on for quite a bit, especially if nobody's up on the podium. If anybody does have a question, oh, Static's got a question. Hit me. Oh, I tried to stab you with my That's my vote.
Oh,
My bad.
oh no, your toenails. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
What can
I'm
I
not
do
sure
for
if
you?
you're ready to talk about this at all, but just regarding the character controller, how we're
Yes.
rolling down the inclines. I'm just wondering, based on possibly what NIMSO's working on, um, if we'll still be doing that, or if we're going to be looking at a parking brake solution still.
That's a great question. Do you know what? I'd like to double check with him and maybe we can come back to this next week with an update. But I can tell you right now that I do believe that problem might be mostly mitigated. Maybe Aline can jump in there if she, because we've played with a lot of the early prototype demos already and we've had a really good taste for it. The reason I think
Nice.
it's mostly mitigated is because overall the new character controller has a much better balance in terms of weight. We're closer to sort of 70 to 80 kilograms roughly in the whole setup with the
Wow.
new character controller compared to the existing one where you're closer to maybe 500, I believe,
Hmm.
was what it was last time I checked. It's basically just, the existing one is kind of using that weight as a trickery to keep you firmly pressed on the ground so that you will definitely roll up hills and stuff like that. You won't get stuck or your ball won't start to spin or any of those kinds of things. But the new one, honestly, it's crazy. It's
Awesome. Can't
mad
wait.
how much better it is. So yeah, a few things will be different. There might not be any double jumping anymore, or double jumping will have to be done a different way, or double jumping will be
Mm.
an option in the menu, right? Probably we'll just embrace it and just be like, you have to enable double jumping and then triple jumping and then quadruple jumping, and then you just keep going up the list to see how many you can get, and then
Infinite jump.
it'll let
Yeah.
you jump that many times and then stop you, then slam you down onto the ground and be
Totally
like,
different
now I can
momentum
do it.
system.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and what's great about it is we're kind of building it out now, right now, as kind of an isolated package in itself, and surfacing everything that it could do as configurable options. Now, I don't know if all of those are going to quite make it into the build, but anything that really makes sense, and we tend to lean more towards giving people more options, but there might be a whole lot of physics configuration that you can do of your character, right?
Hmm.
Like one thing is that on the new one, you don't have to necessarily charge your jump, right? You can just press the button once and jump, which is something that you have on, let's say, other games. Some people might prefer that. So maybe there's an option to allow people to decide whether they prefer to charge their jump or just
Yeah, that'd be
press the
cool.
button and you instant jump, right? So that's just one example of some of the stuff that will be configurable, and there is quite a lot. I've teased a
Wicked.
video on the Discord a couple of times. I don't know how many of you seen it. I know some people might have seen it, but there's all sorts of crazy stuff in it. And I think what we want to try and do is just find out, what makes sense to allow the user to have kind of full override control over, and what makes sense for the space to maybe be able to control or limit depending on what it is the space is doing, right? So
Yeah.
it's that balance of making sure that you give the user as much power and control as they can have, but it doesn't break the ability to make a game and make a game function, let's say. And yeah, I mean, it's probably going to result in a lot of sort of fine tuning, tweaking configuration that's available at runtime that you can sort of turn on or off depending on which space that you're in. And then a
Yeah.
number of
It's gonna
items that
shake
are
things up.
probably available in every space. But yeah, it's a big deal. Most
I'm
recently,
excited.
the character controller actually is for the most part stable and ready. And most recently, we've been moving on to, because this is kind of a layered thing. We started with the inputs from all the devices. Then we look at some intermediary calculations to try and generate or calculate some other positions of certain helper bones along the way. And then that feeds into the physics-based character controller in terms of how all of that is synchronized and links up and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually it makes it down uh, to the animation and the IK and the rigging, right? The full body
Yeah.
pose. And actually, that's the stage that we're at with it lately. We've been looking at a whole new full body IK and animation and foot movement and foot placement and all of that stuff. So we've actually gone beyond just the character controller and we're really moving
It's
into
awesome.
all the different parts you're going to need to kind of drive not just how you interact and move around, but the aesthetics as well, right? Driving how your character looks when you walk and all of that kind of stuff. And it's great.
Right on,
It's
guys.
honestly
That's so
so
cool.
great. Such an improvement on what we've got.
Good to
So
hear.
yeah, I think we're going to be probably looking to try to integrate that pretty soon. And I think by the end of the year, I'm hoping to have this new character controller plus support for body tracking and all of that live,
Yeah.
right, in the game, right? So you heard it here first. Hopefully, that's something that we can pull off within the next 3.5 months, is to get all of that into the platform. And yeah,
Awesome.
there's a few parts in the background we need to get in place for that, especially a brand new networking system that can synchronize all the positions of your avatar so that you can, yeah, so everybody else can see your full body tracking as well. So yeah, that's
So
something
everyone
that
come
we've
to
been
Just
testing.
Dance. Come to, just
Exactly.
bobbing, because you're going to have to prove yourselves.
Yay.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Woo.
Kalima's belly dancing is going to get a whole lot different then at that point. Am I right?
Yeah.
Definitely getting interest.
Damn right. Thanks, Shane. That's awesome, man. Looking forward to it.
Cheers, Static. Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing, right, that nobody's actually mentioned yet is the new avatar system.
I
So
was just going to ask
we've
that.
kind of got phase one of the new avatar system is going to be arriving in maybe tomorrow or maybe Tuesday, and I think that's going to be it. It's going to be out. What's coming with that is a Blender plugin that you can use to create avatars and upload them to your SideQuest account. It won't involve Ready Player Me at all, and will have, in a lot of ways, a lot more flexibility in terms of how you make your avatar work. Right, like bone positions and a lot of the validation you've had to go through in the past with Ready Player Me won't be anywhere near as strict with this new system. It will have a much higher LOD count, especially for your own local avatar. 120k polys is what we're going for. And I think one of the best things about it is that it's like 1 or 2 clicks and it will generate all of the optimized LOD versions of your avatar using a process that we've honed to maximize the quality and minimize the poly count. And then whenever we go in with these new avatars, there won't be any more 2D characters with this new avatar system, because the lowest LOD we'll have will be low enough that it will be acceptable to be able to show everybody, right? So yeah, we're going to roll that out in the next couple of days. Hopefully that goes well. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of tweaking on the other side of it, but yeah, I mean, the hope there is that we can have a much better avatar system that that kind of starts to give you the sort of features that you want. What we will be adding to it very soon, we're not going to have it on launch in the next day or two, is some kind of suite of custom shaders you'll be able to use for your avatars. It will likely be a predefined list you'll be able to use. Mostly we want to try and figure out how we're going to integrate some of the vertex displacement that we do, when you enter a space, or if you use your safety bubble. We want to make sure that all of that can work as well as it can, but also have a nice range of shaders. And I think what we're going to aim for is to have at least a PBR and a tune shader whenever we make that available. And honestly, we'll maybe put it out to the community then if there's some other specific avatar shaders you guys want to suggest that we could have. We can work on that together and try to make that a possibility. So yeah, we might start out with 2 and see where that goes, see how that list grows. Hey Ron, good to see you. What can I do you for?
Hello. Um, Speaking of avatars, I've been having this issue lately where it seems like when I join a bunch of events, my own avatar is basically just the 2 balls, and most people in here for me are just 2 balls.
Yes.
I don't know if that's a local issue or if there's something else related to that
Yes.
might be
Well,
causing
looks,
that.
first thing I can tell you is that it is something we're well aware of, and it's something that we're dealing with, and it's something that this update in a day or two is going to fix as well. So you can look
Okay.
forward to that. We
Okay.
have been
I
dealing
thought
with this for a last little while, but as I'm sure you're aware, we use Ready Player Me, or we have used Ready Player Me mostly to date for people to create and bring in avatars. They've had an issue in certain states in America for the last several weeks, particularly Illinois. But any of that sort of central part of the US, a lot of those states have also been affected by it, and it's exactly as you said. The avatars simply don't load. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's
I'm actually
intermittent.
in Canada, so I'm having it as well.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, as it stands, we're kind of in the process of trying to transition away from using or depending so heavily on Ready Player Me. When the new system rolls out, we'll still have support for Ready Player Me. We'll still maintain that support for quite a while, but I think eventually we'll probably replace that with initially maybe a tutorial to convert Ready Player Me using our Blender plugin, but eventually we'll just have something online that whenever you save your Ready Player Me avatar, it'll upload it to our servers, put it through the Blender process, yeah, behind the scenes, and then generate a Banter compatible avatar like that, right? Kind of like how VR chat works in that way as well. But yeah, it's a pain. Definitely feel you on that one, Ron. And if you can hang fire for another couple of days, we should hopefully finally have that one solved.
Okay, sounds good. I was gonna make a suggestion though as well, like for these like low poly balls or whatever, if the name could always be there, that could also be helpful, just so that if instead of having to point at somebody to see who it is, because you
Yes.
can't really identify anybody by looking at them when you're in an event without pointing
Yeah.
your cursor all the time.
Yeah,
Just a
that's a good idea.
suggestion.
That's a good idea. I think we plan to actually retire the balls. We're gonna take everybody's balls away from them. I like to make that joke.
I heard that it was gonna be feet.
Well, maybe. Yeah, we'll have to see. But there could be variations. There could be a pool of options, so that there might be some differences between people. There's also some colors, right? As you might notice, everybody's got like their own specific custom color. Uh, there might be some of that as well, that might be more prominent, right? So it might make it a little bit easier to tell who's who. But yeah, no, that's honestly a good suggestion in the meantime anyway. While we're looking at all this, yeah, maybe there's a way to improve on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Pony,
I'm back again.
what can I do
How's
for
the new menu system coming on?
menu system is great. A whole new keyboard was kind of the last big ticket item, and that's honestly that's done. I think right now we're trying to work through some final bugs really to try and get that resolved. And then I think what we want to do is one last design aesthetic pass to see if there's anything we can do to try and improve just the polish of it, in terms of how it looks. And then that's it. It's going to be with QA while that's going on. So making sure that everything is working great is going to be, yeah, a big yeah, that's gonna be something we're kind of focusing on. It's gonna be a big priority while we do a last pass. But yeah, I mean we're a couple of weeks away from making that available, I'd say at this point, and
we go.
it's gonna make things so much better, right? The search straight away is gonna make it so much easier to find events and spaces and friends, or even to just join rooms. So yeah, Aline has been using it for the last little while as well. So I don't know, maybe I can pick on Aline because there's so many questions tonight. I haven't had a chance to pick on Aline, but what do you think, Aline? What do you think about the menu? What do you think? How far away are we?
I mean, the only problem is that it's not fully working in VR yet, but on 2D, it's already, yeah, pretty much done and functional. And when I'm in 2D, I'm just using the branch with the new menu because honestly, I don't even look at the spaces or page or events page anymore. I'm just searching. Search bar is just my absolutely default for everything now. It's just quick. It finds everything, and I don't have to click on a tab or on a button. So yeah, super excited when everything will work in VR, and then we can use it everywhere.
Yeah,
Marvelous.
the search is going to be the big ticket item there for sure. There's no doubt about that. I think what the search represents uh, is kind of, at least for me anyway, it's a big deal, right? I think Gareth has just nailed it, right? And honestly, he did this unprompted. He just made it work. Maybe there was a little bit of direction here and there, but the search is going to make it easy to find things, even if it's not things that we have featured ourselves, right? It's going to automatically show results for things if they exist on the platform, even if they're private, even if, let's say, you just typed in the code, right, for a space, right, the first whatever digits from the web address. Then it'll pop up and say, "Oh, you trying to go here?" And it'll show you the picture and the title and the summary and all of that kind of stuff. And I think, for me anyway, that kind of represents a commitment from us to, at least whenever a user wants to find something, that we make that easy and as easy as possible. Even if it's not something that we throw right up onto the main homepage or whatever, that, if you come to us and you say, "Look, my space is this, and I want to make a custom web address," then you've got like a easy to remember code you can hand out to somebody else. They type it into the search, and it straight away will come up with your space, and they'll be able to join it, right? So even if it's not something that we have featured, which honestly we'll pretty much feature most things, but it's more of a, this is our this is our base camp, right? This is where we'll always come back to here. That's our safe space. We're never going to go back in terms of trying to limit or restrict discovery from that level in future, right? So yeah, I hope that I hope it just continues to make it easy to make stuff and to get access to it and to let people see it, and to do that without having to necessarily make it public. Sorry, Divine, I'm waffling. Go ahead.
You're fine. I'm just trying not to fall asleep right now.
Oh no.
Not from your waffling though. You're fine. I've been up for almost 24 hours. Okay.
24 hours,
So
folks.
almost. It's at 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3 more hours. It'll be 24. Anyways, what was I coming up here for? Oh yes, I heard you mention ropes and colors and stuff, and I
Yes.
was wondering, I'm guessing that you said that we can pick our own colors. I don't know. Can we pick? Can we please pick one color on one rope and one color on the other, like black and red? I would love
Dual
that. That
rope
would be
colors.
amazing.
That
That would be
sounds
amazing.
awesome.
I
I
want
love
one
that
black
idea.
and one red.
Black and red
Yes.
ropes. I like it.
Yes. Thank you.
I think we can do that. I think that's no problem at all. I think that's going to be one of our most exciting endeavors yet, is to build in the custom rope color. You can look forward to that in summer of
Yay.
2025 alongside Banter Plus, which will
Yes.
start out at $89.99 a month for the first month, and then $48.99 for the next 19 months, and then $28.90. Callie knows what I'm talking about. Oh, just for those little rope colors. Oh, baby. Oh, we know how much people love those rope colors. They're going to go crazy for it. People come in and go, "Oh, you got those sweet little custom rope colors? Shit." Oh, nice. I just pulled that box. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, to
Tucker,
feed off
what
of
can I do you for?
what she was saying, I wouldn't mind. I'd pay extra to have like an RGB color changing rope that just continually
Wow.
cycles.
Oh my
Oh my
god,
God.
yes!
Ooh,
Fucking hell
yes.
yeah!
Neon LED
Right.
ropes. Oh my
Like
God.
even
LED
one
We've
step
been so
further. What
sheltered.
about ropes? What about ropes that are sound
They're on
activated? So
fire.
whenever you talk, it's like
Oh yes,
Sound
that would
activated
be
ropes. Okay,
awesome
guys.
with music.
It's sounding like the Banter Plus subscription is shaping up to be entirely rope themed. Okay, nothing else. It's only going to be rope enhancements. That's literally all you're going to get. Everything else is going to stay exactly the
it's just a
same.
kink fest.
But
Is
for
all it
Banter
is.
Plus, you can get all sorts of, and we're going to do it like, like those dating apps, right? Where you'll be able to pay for each color independently, and you'll be able to rent it for a certain amount of time in the month. You pay X, whatever, $59.99. I'll just pull a random number out of my ass, and you can get
There's your future
3
giveaways.
rope color changes per month. Boom. Future giveaways. You
Future
can give
giveaways.
away
Ropes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Literally. There's a pile of rope. There you go. Congratulations. That's all we'll do. There you go. Everybody gets a pile of rope, but only if you won it. Perry, what have you got? Is it rope related? Because if it's not,
It is.
okay.
Variable girth rope.
Variable
Oh,
girth, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Oh my God, it's not
Oh,
about the length of the
goodness.
rope.
You wanted to.
I like the way it was kind of 2D mode, and that was kind of shouted. I just wanted to say, variable girth.
That's the best one today. Oh my god.
Yes. Nice. Okay, tell us, Shiseki, what is your ideal rope scenario?
Ooh.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Yes.
That's good.
rope color changing. I
Yes.
like it. Okay, this is
Ropeonomics.
interesting.
Oh wait!
Rope
Even
economics.
better.
I like it.
Even better. Like a
You can
duck
trade
duck
bits of
goose
your rope.
game. Like a duck duck
Yeah.
goose game. Even better.
Yeah,
You're it.
yeah.
Your rope
Magical
changes
chairs
green,
or something.
and then all of a sudden you have to chase someone down. Yeah. There you go.
Nice. What if you could have a whole range of different ropes that have different materials and different abilities and different powers and strengths, and you had to collect them and fight them, and you get other people and fight their ropes. Okay, well maybe this is it, guys. Is this happening? Is this really happening? Are we really leaning into this and going all about ropes? I do feel like I've got a new thing
Absolutely.
every week. It's like that's what we're gonna be. What was it last week? Only foots. We were gonna do an OnlyFans,
Oh
but
my
with feet. I obviously
Oh,
don't have
goodness.
a vested interest in that. I obviously don't have an upper hand, even though I am a foot. But no, this week it's about ropes, right? That's true. I did. I got a couple of domains. That's right. But Jesus. Well, that was a beautiful little distraction. Yeah. Now what am I going to waffle about? I feel like I've waffled about everything.
Waffle about waffles.
Waffle about waffles. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to waffle about chaffles, okay? Because I've been on keto lately, so I'm talking about this. And Faye introduced me to this. And honestly, I've yet to try it yet, but I'm excited about it. So I'm going to waffle about it, right? Because it seems it's at least on topic. Cheese and eggs, right? In a waffle machine, in a waffle maker, and you make cheese-based waffles called chaffles, right? I mean, keto or not, that sounds pretty amazing. But it's
Thanks.
also a great way to stay in shape. Am I right? You
Heck
can just
yeah.
eat these things all day.
I
You
didn't
can just make a
realize the other
pizza.
day when y'all were talking about keto, I was on mute, and I was like, I've been on keto before, but I was on mute. So yeah,
Oh,
didn't hear what I said. But yeah,
you were on mute the entire time you were on keto? That
Yes,
is
the entire no.
crazy.
That's not possible for me. Oh my god.
Oh, Ron, have you got anything rope or keto related?
Somewhat keto related.
Okay.
Yesterday in Crystal Lake, I was having some strange issues.
Oh,
You were there, and you were doing
Oh.
jumping jacks and all kinds of strange things.
jumping
Um,
jacks?
Yeah, you said you were out of shape. I was trying to debug my avatar issue, so I kept hitting respawn avatar and like different things in the setting menu, and you were skating
doing
around the lake and
Oh.
doing weird things.
Spawn avatar.
And you were doing jumping jacks, and you were talking about
I just
being out of shape.
It literally just dawned on me what he's talking about. You know, you take that, buddy? You know what I'm talking about, right? You know those are just pre-recorded.
Yeah, I know there. Yeah, I figured that. I figured that after, but I didn't I didn't know what those buttons are for. I assume it was a way to like try to respawn my own avatar or respawn other people's avatars or something to try to fix
Yes.
the issue.
That would
Yeah.
make sense. That's what we should have made that feature into, right? What the hell are we doing here, folks? What the fuck? We just made a thing that lets you spawn a bunch of random people and they make a load of noise and fall all over the place. And we gave them physics
Yeah.
for no reason. You can pile them on top of each other and do weird things with them. I've seen a lot of videos. Ghost Droid has a whole fucking mountain of them in his home space. But yeah, it was intended to be a testing tool, right? If you're building out a space, you're like, oh, this looks great. Performance is fantastic. And then you get 30 people in and the performance is in the toilet. And it was like supposed to be a way to spawn a bunch of avatars to do that. But actually,
All right. Okay.
it's become more of you've got your own emotional support me, right? So you can spawn it whenever you need and you can talk to it and it just stands there and goes, puppet, puppet. And
Yeah.
then, oh, fuck, oh, my leg, oh, I broke my leg, puppet. Or you can get Bob doing just off in the corner. I've seen some mad videos of people being like, what the hell is wrong with this person and taking a recording of them. And it's like, yeah. But yeah, that was the intention there was that, yeah, it was supposed to be a little testing system. And
Right. Okay.
we
Thank
we
you for
have
that.
we have a thing in there. I'm sure you saw it. It's in the same menu, right? Where you can hit start recording and you can actually record your avatar, your voice, your movements, everything. And that's what we use to make those. Is that you can just record them and do them like that. So, yeah, that's how we did
All
that.
right.
But of course, anybody can use that,
Thank you.
right? You can use that to make your own recordings for whatever purpose you want. But yeah, that's a good one, Ron. Cheers to that.
Where
Thanks.
would we find those recordings?
They'll be in the app data folder where the same place you would get access to the photos or to the
Okay.
yeah, it's all in
Gotcha.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a neat system. It's a neat system. You can mix and match, right? You can swap out or edit the audio and put different audio in and do different do different avatars, swap different avatars out and play them back on the same recording, which is kind of cool. We are going to use it extensively for some footage we'll be recording for an upcoming trailer. We're going to be getting some voice acting work done, so we're going to want to be able to swap that audio in after we do the recordings, and that's the perfect system for that. So we can have a lot of things kind of pre-recorded, and it makes it much easier, hopefully, for us to try and capture a nice, engaging launch trailer. So yeah, that's the Avatar recording system. But yeah, we recently added lip sync support, which the Avatar recording system also supports. So that's another thing that you can do. You can put an avatar in there and have full lip sync for whatever audio you put out through them, right? But yeah, that's pretty much what that is. Enjoy that. There's also an emotional support or spirit version of Proxide and an emotional support version of Bob. And I encourage you to explore them all, right? Maybe in future we can try and clone ourselves with AI and let them be dynamic and you can talk to them and they can talk back. And then things get really weird, I guess, right? Who knows where do we go from there? But I don't know. We'll have fun, I'm sure. Right. Anyway, this is the point where somebody interrupts. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. What can I do for him?
Sorry. Yeah. This recording system, is it still going to work with the new avatar system? Because I don't know how that works, but obviously it's a whole new system. It's going to be a whole new kind of rig and everything else, presumably.
Yes.
I know,
Yes.
I understand that you need a GLB file of the avatar to put in and make it work and everything. And yeah, is it still going to be
Yeah,
compatible
I mean,
the same
it
way?
should work just fine. Yeah, it should just work just fine, right? We're going to have backwards compatibility with Ready Player Me in this new system, and the avatar recording system. It even got some updates as part of this as well. So we made sure to kind of go in there and make sure everything is working on that too. Yeah, hopefully
Cool.
there aren't any major show-stopping bugs when we roll this out. Touch wood. But at the same time, yeah, I think when we go into the future, we're going to probably continue to upgrade the avatar recording. Right now, it kind of just takes your head and your hands, maybe your feet as well for whenever you're jumping. Um, but in the future, we're probably going to record every bone position and put it all in, right? So that you can do full body avatar recordings using trackers
Cool.
and stuff like that, right? So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's going to be really cool, I'd say, right? You can just record a little dance and then have some dancers at your dance thing, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? You can have pre-recordings of yourself that work together in combination to achieve a goal somehow because you've recorded it all. Or you can just have somebody comes up and then you talk to yourself back and forth. That's a trope. They've done that before in scenarios, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, that's a good question, Lisa. Yeah, for sure. We want to
Brilliant.
right now anyway, given that the launch trailer work is something that's a big priority for us. That avatar recording system is a really kind of foundational part of that. So we're going to make sure that that continues to work.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, we're actually going to use that pretty extensively in the new onboarding space, and as a yeah, as an extension of the new onboarding space, we're probably going to have a new similarly themed 101 space. You know, this is about trying to put in all of the necessary pieces in place really to make it easier for new users when they get in, right? So you'll have a taste of stuff in the new onboarding. You'll have some avatar recordings there that might help introduce you, get you acclimated. But then the 101 space will go further again, cover more topics, get more granular, have more things that you'll be able to explore. And we want to use the avatar recordings extensively as part of that as well. So yeah, not to mention a bunch of other things that I can't really talk about because they're sort of secretive and they involve all sorts of mad things that
Tell
we're
us.
doing in the background. Can't tell you. That's part of the gig. As much as I want to, it goes against my nature. But you'll find out in days, weeks, months, or years. One of the two. Let's just see how far all of this goes. Designer girl, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Yeah. Building as
What can I do you
always.
for?
I have a question about shaders. You
Okay.
know how you have Pyomi and Mochi and different sort of shaders for other platforms? Are you going to
Yes.
build like a shader pack of bands so you know the shaders will be completely compatible with things like double-sided transparencies or anything that would suit your platform? Can we have Banter shaders? A pack ready made, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think right now we have it's one of those forum channels on the Discord, which has got a number of shaders in there. We call it Shader Works, right? Which is probably the
Mm-hmm.
closest thing to what you're talking about, where it's more of a community effort, right? There's a number of shaders in there
Yeah.
that Lisa has shared, that Aline has shared, maybe Peroxide has shared some in there as well. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I mean that's basically a great place to kind of start something like that for
Yeah.
sure. But I think, yeah, I mean, in general, so with the new SDK, uh, we realized that we were doing some weird stuff with the old SDK, right? It's probably the easiest way to say that. And as part of that, we wanted to maintain backwards compatibility with the old SDK, but we also wanted to try and undo some of that weird shit that we were doing. So the new SDK has this legacy shader fix option that you can use, which is
Oh.
on by default if you're using
Mm-hmm.
an A-frame based scene. Whereas if you're using a non-A-frame based scene, then it doesn't turn it on by default, right? You can turn it on yourself. I wouldn't recommend it because what it was
Mm-hmm.
doing was we were doing some stuff to try to rectify some custom shader issues we had a long time ago that were affecting
Uh-huh.
how standard shaders are loading in. Has anybody ever had any
Oh,
problems with trying to use some of the
yeah, I
standard
do
shaders and then all of a
some.
sudden They look one way
Uh-huh.
in Unity, but different in Banter, and we just say, "Fuck,
Very.
stay away."
Yes.
Standard shaders are awful. So that's part of
Yes.
the problem. There is we were doing some weird shit to try and fix a problem that we were facing, and we ended up with
okay.
it kind of baked in, and it was dependent, right? If we took it out, it would have broken a number of people's spaces. So we're committed to making sure things still continue to work. But in a nutshell, you should be able to use the new SDK raw without A-frame involved, and it should make your shaders generally
Great.
work a whole lot
Oh,
better.
that's great.
But
That's great.
yeah, I mean, I think if if you do ever have any problems with specific shaders, there are some other gotchas. I know Lisa, you put in a post about this as well. Maybe it's in the shader work section too, right? But on VR, especially on Android, there's two different types of shader pass rendering. It's single pass or multi-view, as it's sometimes called, and multi-pass. Those are two different types.
Right.
Your shaders sometimes need to support single pass, right, in order for that
Yeah.
to work. But it's thankfully usually a very quick thing. If you ever do dip into a shader, there's about 3 to 4 edits you need to make. Less than sort of probably about 8 lines you need to add into your shader. You just copy and paste them in. And Lisa had linked a tutorial on the Unity docs that talks you through it step by step. So, I mean, yeah, maybe we can do all of the above, right? Maybe we can try and pull together any shaders that we've been generally using internally within most of our own spaces and put them out as a shader pack. Maybe we
That'd be
can,
great. Yeah.
continue that
All in one
that
place.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
It'd be
probably
a
put
lot
them
easier.
into that same shader works
Yeah.
place, right?
I'd
Or maybe
appreciate
link
that
them
if
in the
that comes
docs.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Lovely.
for sure.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Cool. Thank
really
you.
great suggestion. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, well look, yeah, God, it feels like there's less and less waffling that I have to do, and yeah, I love to waffle, so that's a shame. But we've only got a couple minutes left, so maybe I'll see if there's maybe one last question that somebody wants to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer it, or if it's a quick one, maybe we might have time for another question. Or if nobody asks me a question, I'm going to choose somebody to pick on, and I'm going to ask them a question, and it could be anything. So that's how it works. Goes both ways, folks. Nothing. Okay, Gooch Monkey, tell us. I think I've asked you this before, actually. Maybe I have asked you before. You're hiding there. You're just an easy target. You're right in front of me, but you're hiding. What's the name? What's the background of the username? And does it check out?
Uh, I picked it a long time ago whenever I was young, and I've just never got rid of it. So that's why it's very kid-like. I'm sure you can tell.
Well, it's got a certain compelling sort of
Yeah.
nature to it, I guess, right? It's kind of endearing. So that's it. No specific background. There wasn't
No.
anything you don't want to tell
No.
us. It was an internal
No.
joke between you and your buddies when you were like 12, and it was obscene. Clearly, right? It was about something, and you just don't want us to know, right?
I think just to get a
Okay,
rise out of people. That's all it was.
gotcha.
Just
Well, you're cancelled. That's it. You're out of here.
canceled. Dang it.
Pre-cancelled. Because you won't tell us, and therefore that means that it must be bad. So, right, nice one. Okay, well, that was quick. Who else can I pick on? Let's see. Kage, how are you doing over there? Tell us a story in 60 seconds or less.
Good story.
Oh, it's interpretive dance. Oh, what's he doing? I think he's masturbating, you guys. Don't look. Look away. Oh no. Unmegaphone, quick. Don't look. Eyes on me. And on that bombshell. Oh God. Guys, it's been fun as always. Honestly, I really enjoy this. Yeah, I love waffling. I do, honestly, but it's still great to see so many questions. I really appreciate that, right? And I feel like there's been we're starting to see a momentum recently, so it's really exciting to see that. Right, let's keep that going. And for me, it's a build up to what is going to be an enormous splash, which is going to be a wider launch of Banter once we've got a few of these really important things out. So it's great to see that early signal from the community that things are starting to hype up even before we're getting to that stage where we're really going to rip the lid off it, so to speak. But anyway, let me plug a couple of events. In 29 minutes, you've got peer support group with Psycho. You've got anxiety support group straight after that, a neuro chat straight after that, lots of support groups on a Sunday, which is great. Then you've got, is it Dead Zed's Neon Abyss event in 3 hours? And yeah, you've got Games and Drink with Kitty. That's going to be fun. That's in place of the Banter Late Show this week. So a great events lineup this evening, folks. Please enjoy. Or if you want, just hang out in the Crystal Lake and listen to some tunes. But yeah, stay classy, San Diego. Like
Thank
that.
you,
That was
Shane.
huge.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Shane.
Shane.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
Saseki.
I'll see you all tomorrow night at Banter AMA. See you soon.
I have another rope foot idea. Don't leave yet.
Okay.
There's feet on the bottom of your rope so you can walk them.
Oh
So
boy.
you can walk your ropes.